How will rivals react to President Trump's tariff plans? Well, Investor Focus now turns to what the reaction from America's trading partners will be after President Trump's move to impose sweeping tariffs on US imports. Vicky Pryce is Chief Economic Advisor at the CEBR. Vicky, what did you make of the announcement on Wednesday, and how do you expect America's trading partners to react?
We did expect that there would be a tariff announcement, and everyone was sort of prepared, but we weren't quite prepared for the percentage increases that President Trump announced yesterday, and countries are just now getting to grips with what it might mean. But I think the initial reaction, even though a number of them have already said that they will try and sort of retaliate, is to see whether there's anything that can be done between now and the 5th, when the 10% across the board is meant to be operational, or between now and the 9th of April, when the higher increases, which are pretty punishing for many countries, including many developing countries, are meant to come into effect. There is a question about whether there is any negotiating time, whether there is any willingness, if you like, by the US to negotiate, but also, whether countries really will be prepared to go begging, and what concessions they may want to give to President Trump to get some of those tariffs reduced.
Well, Vicky, the market certainly didn't like the announcement, and they're worried about possible recession. Are they right to be worried, or is that reaction a bit over the top?
They're absolutely right to be worried. I mean, just look at the US, first of all. And obviously, if these tariffs do take effect, it's going to have quite a big impact on inflation in the US. Remember, we're talking about a basic tariff, extra tariff of 10%. But we already have, in addition to all the additional tariffs for some countries where there are big deficits that the US is suffering right now in its trade balance. You've also got the universal 25% tariff on cars from anywhere. You have the aluminium and steel tariffs as well of 25%. You already have a position of various other tariffs against Canada and Mexico, which have not actually been singled out for anything extra for the time being. You have quite a lot of hints that there could be other specific tariffs, such as on pharmaceuticals. Those are going to affect countries like the UK in particular, which exports quite a lot of pharmaceutical products to the US. So there is a lot of uncertainty out there. And it's no surprise that everyone is looking at this and saying that even if we get some reduction in those tariffs, who knows what may happen next? So this uncertainty, plus the increase in costs that particularly the US is going to be going through, is quite likely to lead to an increase in inflation there and lowering of living standards for a while, and serious problems for some companies that are operating in the US. So yes, it is likely that we'll see a serious slowdown, if not recession, in the US, and the world economic outlook is also suffering.
Vicky, the dollar index sank to a 6-month low today, and do you think the dollar could continue to fall, and what implications does that have for it as a reserve currency?
It will affect, of course, willingness of other people, other countries to really hold the currency if they think that the US is withdrawing from international cooperation, if you like, and participation in the trade system. But I think there is an interesting possible reaction to what's going to be happening in the US. Yes, there is a question about the overall trade importance of the US as a result of this. But if we're going to be having higher inflation in the US as a result of this, what will the Fed do? Is it likely to keep rates higher than they would otherwise be, and therefore the dollar might be stronger than it would otherwise be? Or are they going to start worrying at the Fed about growth and therefore reducing interest rates quite significantly faster than perhaps we've been anticipating for a while? So I think that is where the balance may lie, but I think there is no doubt that Trump is rather keen to see a weaker currency. Positives about this, which is that if you don't have a strengthening currency, lots and lots of countries, particularly in the developing world, have their debt denominated in dollars. If that value is perhaps reduced, then that would be good for them, because there have been serious problems in the past with the dollar strength in that respect. But also I think what it might do is encourage the development of other currencies, particularly digital currencies. The whole BRICS idea of having digital tokens as the currency that is being used now for trade among those countries that are members of BRIC or who want to become members of the BRICS grouping, to perhaps develop their own currencies. And also in terms of the euro, it might strengthen its own position as a reserve currency. I mean, that is also a possibility, and it's something actually that the Europeans would quite enjoy seeing happen.
That was Vicky Pryce from the Centre for Economic and Business Research. And don't forget, you can watch more videos on Reuters.com.